As for studying two subjects or more simultaneously, then this differs from one seeker to another depending upon their capacity of understanding and their enthusiasm.
I think most of us can take even 3-4 subjects at a time. We do that at school, don't we? So why can't you do it in knowledge of Islam? What he mentions is the point that you should only focus on one subject, or you can study 3-4 things at the same time. So you're doing your Qur'an, and you also have a small book of fiqh you're learning, and also you're doing your Arabic if you don't know Arabic. Can you do that, or just say just Qur'an? No. I think most of us, if not all of us, we can do that. Because we do that already at school. We have 6-7 different classes at school every day. You have math, you have biology, you have chemistry, you have phys ed, if you want to call that a class, and everything else, right or wrong? If you can do that in ilm which has no barakah because it's not from Allah, what about the ilm which Allah put for you? وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ. Allah says we made it easy for you. فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. But are there people who want it? It's easy. Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah ikhwani to wake up your himam, your zeal and your passion for knowledge. He said Imam An-Nawawi, and Imam An-Nawawi ikhwani, all of us know him. Like we said, 40 hadith, Riyadh al-Salihin, Al-Majmu', one of the biggest books in Islam, one of the greatest books, Sharh of Sahih Muslim, Al-Minhaj. He died when he was 40, if I'm not wrong, or 30 something, yes, with all that work. He says, كان عندي 12 درسا في يوم. I used to have 12 classes a day. I go to this sheikh, I go to that sheikh, I go to that sheikh, 12 classes a day. Ibn Attar, his famous student, he said when I would go to his house, he's sitting and there's books everywhere around him. And he would sleep on his books. If he gets tired, that's where he sleeps. So when you hear today, after 600 years, every part of the world you go, people are reading Riyadh al-Salihin, right around. People are reading Arba'in Nawawiyya. All of us were Shafi'is. They have to go back to Imam Nawawi. He's our great Imam. You think it happened by chance? You think he was just waking up and going to Timmy's to spend 2 hours, then hanging out, and then playing video games, and then watching YouTube? No. Imam al-Zuhri, who said in Sahih Bukhari, he said, إِنَّ الْعِلْمَ لَا يُسْتَطَاعُ بِرَاحَةِ الْجَسَدِ. This knowledge, you can't get it by being too comfortable. You want to sleep? You sleep. You're not meant for knowledge. So when you hear today, he died before he's 40, and everywhere in the world, 800 years, people are benefiting from his books. He did his time. He did his work. You understand? Now,
there were among the people of knowledge those who taught Hanbali fiqh from Zad al-Mustaqni.
Zad al-Mustaqni is one of the small books in Hanbali fiqh in the madhab of the Hanbalis. Now,
for the beginners, and al-Muqni for differences of opinion within the madahib, and then al-Mughni for differences of opinion at an advanced level, and did not permit the seekers in the first level to sit in the lessons of the seekers in the second level, and so on, so as to eliminate any confusion.
This is the order they had. You start with Zad al-Mustaqni, like you said, you start with the concise book with the Shaykh. You master it, you go to the next book. So those who study Hanbali fiqh, because the fiqh which is dominant in the Arabian Peninsula, you start with Zad al-Mustaqni, and then you go to al-Muqni. And from al-Muqni, you go to al-Mughni. Al-Mughni is that big book there, close to where the brother is seated. Behind you. Behind you? Yes, you see that? No, the other one, the other shelf. To your right, Akhi. Yes, the green and orange one, that is al-Mughni. That is al-Mughni. Al-Mughni is the top. If you want to be a faqih, you know the fiqh of Islam, al-Mughni is the top. Especially Hanbali fiqh and any other fiqh. For the Hanbalis they have al-Mughni, for the Shafi you have al-Majmu', for the Ahnaf you have Fath al-Qadir or Bida' al-Sana'i', for the Malikis you have Tartib al-Madarik and other books. Those are the top books of fiqh in Islam. But you have to get there first. So the Shaykh says they would not let someone who will not cover the first book sit in the class of the second book. No. They won't let you do that. That's like today, if you go to school, you're in grade 10, they won't let you come and sit in grade 12. You're not ready. It's not being biased, no, it's because you're not ready. Now, read a bit faster.
I know that the list of the concise books and the long compilations upon which seeking knowledge is based and acquiring from it is the mashayikh generally differed from one region to another, depending on the madhahib, and which the scholars of that region were brought upon, since they will tend to be proficient in one particular concise book rather than any other.
This is important, Ikhwani. So when we mention this, it doesn't mean now today everybody goes and starts saying, okay, well, I need to study Zad al-Mustaqli and then al-Buqali. No. He's saying everywhere is different. You're in that area and people are Hanabila, those are the books you have. You grew up in a place where it's dominantly Shafi'i fiqh, they have their own books. So al-Muqaddim al-Hadramiyya, and then you go up. You grow up in an area which is prominently Maliki fiqh, you start with Al-Risal. You grow up in an area with prominently Hanafi fiqh, you start with Al-Hidayah or any other books. You understand? Every place is different. Every place according to the madhab of the area. This is, when you say madhab here, is the fiqh. Fiqh is different. You understand? Each fiqh has their own books. And I know some of you will say, okay, so what do we have here in Ottawa? We'll get to that point, inshallah. How can we start to seek knowledge with the books we might have now?
The situation also differed from one seeker to another depending upon their talent's level of understanding, the strength or weakness of their will, the rigidity or enthusiasm of their minds. As for seeking the knowledge in our region, after the stage of the Quranic schools and the completion...
Our region, which means in Saudi Arabia today. You understand? That's what now the Shaykh is talking about.
After the stage of Quranic schools and the completion of the memorization of the
Noble Qur'an, first you start with the Qur'an,
of the Noble Qur'an, it passed through the three stages with the mashayikh with regards to the lessons held in the masajid and mosques, the beginners, the intermediates, and the advanced. As for the Tawheed, they would be taught al-usul al-thalatha wal-qawa'id al-arba'a.
Al-usul al-thalatha and qawa'id al-arba'a, the four principles, and then kashf al-shubuhat, removing the doubts, and then kitab al-tawheed. All of them four by Shaykh Muhammad AbdulWahab rahimahullah. And these are very good books. These are very good books everybody should study. And these books, all of four of them will take you 1 year to study. You don't need more than 1 year. And if you want to study, you study with the explanation of Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen. More than enough for you. More than enough for you. And if you want to study in English, I'll mention this now, even though I'll mention it after, which is tomorrow. You go to the website of Dr. Salih As-Salih, rahimahullah, who was one of the best students of Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, and was a very learned man. He used to be at the University of Washington. He was a biochemist or nuclear physicist, something like that. He was a learned man. He's from Al-Qasim. And then he left his job in Washington. He went back to study with the Shaykh. He used to explain the books of the Shaykh in English. There is the Usul al-Thalatha, Qawaid al-Arba'a, Kashf al-Shubahat, if I'm not wrong, and Kitab al-Tawheed. All of them, Dr. Salih As-Salih, he explains them in English. You need to listen. Listen, don't go reading only. This is a major mistake people do. Okay, this is the explanation of the Shaykh, I'll read. No. Listening first, and then you read. That's how we learn. Even the Qur'an was revealed like that. The Prophet ﷺ used to listen first, and then the Qur'an was written after. You listen first, and then you read. Or you listen and you follow with your book. The website of the Shaykh is understanding-islam.net. Understanding-islam.net, if I'm not wrong. Dr. Salih As-Salih. And he's one of my teachers. And I haven't met many men who have patience like him. He used to be really patient. He used to teach, and he's in Saudi Arabia. His classes would be around this time, via Paltalk. I don't know if they still have Paltalk. Paltalk still exists? SubhanAllah, he'll be teaching around this time. And you'll have 200, 300 people listening. And he'll debate Christians. How many people became Muslim through him? Allahu A'lam. Allahu A'lam. What a fine man, subhanAllah, alhamdulillah. And Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen used to love him a lot. He used to love him a lot. He died when he was young. He died, he went to Medina to pray Salat al-Asr. Right after he left the masjid, he fell. Dr. Salih al-Salih. Maybe someone should check the website. Is it the right website or not? Understanding-islam.net. There's another website, Understanding Islam, which is not the same one. Now, and he says regarding Tawheed Asma al-Sifat, the Tawheed of Allah's names and attributes, then you read Aqidat al-Wasitiyya, which everybody should read, and you'll find it there on the website also. And Al-Hamawiyya and Tadmuriyya. And then you do Al-Aqidat al-Tahawiyya. But if you do Aqidat al-Wasitiyya, it might be enough for you. Wasitiyya is enough for you. Wasitiyya is enough for you. And after that you do Aqidat al-Tahawiyya. And alhamdulillah, we just finished a few weeks ago in our masjid in Toronto, Aqidat al-Tahawiyya. It took us around 18 weeks, maybe. We finished. And those videos should be up also on Haqq the Truth One on YouTube. That's the YouTube channel. Haqq, H-A-Q-T-H-E, the Truth, T-R-U-T-H, number 1. No space. Aqidat al-Tahawiyya, we have covered that. It says, as for Arabic grammar, you run Al-Ajrumiyya. Al-Ajrumiyya. And then Mulhat al-I'rab of Al-Hariri, and then Qatar al-Nada of Ibn Hisham, and then Alfiya of Ibn Malik, along with the explanation of Ibn Aqil. That's what the Shaykh is saying. But Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen is saying, you do Al-Ajrumiyya, and then directly go to the Alfiya of Ibn Malik. That's what Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen is saying. And he, Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, he has the explanation of Al-Alfiya. Tayyib? For us, it's not very relevant. Unless you speak Arabic already, that's what you do. For those of us who don't speak Arabic, you do the Medina books, the famous books called the Medina books. And you can do those books in 1 year. I guarantee you that. In 1 year, you can know how to pick any book and read in Arabic, if you're serious. But you cannot learn Arabic if you do it once a week. I've taught those books several times. I was telling the brothers last night. If you dedicate 4 days of your week, 4 days of the week, you're learning Arabic, 2 hours of the day. The Medina books, they call them the Medina books because they were written for all these people around the world who go to study to Medina University. Everybody who does not speak Arabic from everywhere in the world, they go through that 2-year program first. It's 2 years. But there you learn how to read, how to write, how to speak. I'm speaking about how to read and understand, not speaking Arabic. You don't need that right now. If you need to know how to read Arabic, you can pick up a book and read and understand 80-90%, 1 year. 4 days of the week. That's it. Book 1 and book 2 of Medina books. After that you go to Ajrubi. We'll talk about this after, inshallah. He says, as for hadith, 40 Nawawiyya, 40 hadith, and then Umdat al-Ahkam of al-Maqdisi, and then Bulugh al-Maram of Ibn Hajar, and then al-Muntaqa of Majd ibn Taymiyyah. Now, and then you will delve into the 6 compilation of the hadith, the huge books of hadith, Bukhari, Muslim, An-Nasai, Abu Dawud, and Tirmidhi, and Ibn Majah. As for the science of hadith, Mustalah al-Hadith, you do Nukhbat al-Fikr, and then Alfiyat of al-Iraq. Like I said, we'll comment on this after. How to seek knowledge, which are the books for us. We'll do a special session for that, inshallah. He says for fiqh, Adab Mashil al-Salah, which is of Shaykh Muhammad al-Wahhab, Zad al-Mustaqni of al-Hajjawi, Umdat al-Fiqh of al-Muqni, for differences like you mentioned before, and then in the madhab you do al-Mughni. Are we here already? Which page is this? As for tafsir, sorry, usul al-fiqh, or do al-waraqat, rawdat al-nadir, in mawarith, the laws of inheritance, it says rahbiyya. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, he says al-Burhaniyya is better. Tafsir Ibn Kathir, nothing comes close to it. And Abwa al-Bayan of Shaykh Muhammad Mukhtar al-Shanqiti. Abwa al-Bayan and Tafsir Ibn Kathir, those are the 2 books you need in tafsir. After that, you can go to the tafsir of Ibn Jarir. As for principles of tafsir, which is very important, Al-Muqaddim of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, but I will say you do the book of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen. Very important book, Muqaddimah in tafsir. Very important. Sahal and very good book. Now, as for Sirah, Mukhtasar Sirat al-Nabawiyya of Shaykh Muhammad al-Wahhab, and then he says Zad al-Ma'ad. I would say Rahiq al-Makhtoum is a good book for us. Now, so he says here, he's explaining, he says, in this manner, time will be engaged in seeking knowledge, within the gatherings of knowledge from Fajr until forenoon, then after that there will be a nap, and then from Dhuhr, before Dhuhr, and then lessons will continue after the 5 daily prayers. They used to study. These were people who gave their time to study. Now, the seekers of knowledge and the Mashaykh also used to be immensely well-mannered, have plenty of mutual respect along with self-esteem, and they were upon the way of the Salaf al-Salih. For this reason, Ikhwani, they reached their aims, and many of them became recognized scholars. That is why people ask, where did Shaykh Umar Uthaymeen study? Yeah, he went to the Kulliyah for 1 year, that's it. But he studied with the Mashayikh in the masjid like that. Where did Shaykh AbdulAziz bin Baz study? There was no Kulliyah, there was no college or university. And all those other great Shaykhs. You study in the masjid. In North Africa, in the Mahdara, in Shanqit and whatever. You sit with the Shaykh and that's what you do. That's what you do. And they build you. The universities were the Masajid. That is what the universities were for the Muslims. Now, so the Shaykh, he made a call. He said, now it's time for us to return to that call. That way. That way. Instead of studying, he said, pamphlets. Now people are studying pamphlets, muqarrarat. This is what we wrote for them, now they'll study this. Say no, let's study the way we used to study. That's how people come out and they have knowledge. It is very true, by the way. You see people today go to Medina University, Azhar University, he comes out, he doesn't know basics of the religion. I have seen them personally. Personally, I know people. I'm not saying it's not good, nah? But I'm saying there's more to studying than just going to a university. You who's not in the university can have more knowledge and benefit more than the one who goes to university. Now, the next point he mentioned, 17. I'll summarize this one because we touched on it already. He says to acquire knowledge from the Mashayikh. He says the basis of knowledge, Ikhwani, should be the way of dictation and acquisition from the teachers. At-talqeen. And that's how most of us, we learn the Qur'an. You learn the whole Juz' Amma, you don't even know how to open the Mus'haf. Sah wala la, Doctor? Sah wala la, Shaykh Ashur? You learn how to read the Qur'an, you don't even know where is this Qul Allah Ahad, you don't know. But the Shaykh said, Qul huwa Allahu Ahad, Qul huwa Allahu Ahad, Allah. And all of us read it. That's how people learn the Qur'an. Wallahi, I was in Egypt. I didn't tell you this one, Doctor. As an older gentleman, your age or his age mate, even though you're still young, Ummiyun, he doesn't know how to read or write. Doesn't know how to read or write. He's a farmer. In the morning, you'll see him coming out with his, what do you call it? The buggy. You know, he's with his donkeys and he's going to the farm. Hafiz al-Qur'an. He memorized the Qur'an. All by just listening. He cannot read, he cannot write. And he sits after Maghrib in the masjid teaching children. That is how knowledge is taken in Ikhwan. You don't learn from YouTube, random websites, saying I'll pick a book and read. Not yet. You might reach a level, yes. Not in the beginning stage. You get confused, especially today where kullu na'iq is on YouTube. Anybody who can make a video is on YouTube. Right or wrong? Might have a beard and you think he's doing good, he's taking you to the hellfire. Get your basics proper. And then like we said, you have your basics, come and delve. Look at all that. It's a big menu you have there. You have your basics, Hurrah, now you go. But you get your basics first. You have to have a teacher. And today, alhamdulillah, that technology you have, we can use it in good. So maybe I don't have to be here, or any other person you benefit from doesn't have to be here. But you know they have a class on a particular book. You cannot be there physically, but you can learn from them. We use that in good, not chaotic. Today you're listening to lecture on zakah, tomorrow you're listening to a lecture on who said what, other day you're listening to a lecture of seerah, and you get confused, miskin. 5, 10 years you're on YouTube and websites, nothing. And Shaykh Google is there for you. You build. Once you build, khalas, alhamdulillah, you're ready. This is very important. So this is the point he'll mention here. And they used to say before, Man kana shaykhuhu kitabuhu, kana khata'uhu akthara min sawabu. Whoever his shaykh is his book, then his mistakes will be more than his good. And others say, then shaykhuhu shaytan. His shaykh will be the shaytan. Because you don't know how Shaykh Bakr Abu Zayd, what his style is. You can't just pick his book and read. You don't know the mustalahat he uses, the terminology he uses. You have to have someone who has read the book, studied, he directs you. The Shaykh is there to direct you. You don't limit knowledge to the Shaykh, no? The Shaykh is there to guide you. This is how it is. You understand? This is important. But you reach some level, the Shaykh tells you, no, you can read that on yourself, you don't need me. And if you have a problem, you go back and say, Shaykh, what did this mean? That's what it means. You understand? Now, so we'll jump this one. And there's nothing wrong by the way of reading books. Maybe you shouldn't understand this, because this point is very, very misunderstood. The people who say, no, you can't read anything without a Shaykh. No, no. There's things which everybody can read, like Usul Thalath, like Qawaid Arba. They were written for everybody. You can read that. If you get an explanation, it's good. There's basic things you can read and learn. How does a Muslim eat? He eats with the right hand. You need an explanation for that? No. You say Bismillah before eating, you don't need an explanation for that. You understand? Even if you sat with the Shaykh, there might be more benefits to the hadith, but you're getting the message. You understand? We need that balance. We need that balance. And like I said today, alhamdulillah, we have so much knowledge on the internet. You just have to know where to go, the right place, and you get focused. Get focused. Now, let me see. And that is why As-Safadi, he said, for this reason the scholars, they say, do not take knowledge from a person who acquires it from the scripts only. Someone just read and he comes and teaches you, no. He has to have known the right explanation. Then he can teach you, yes. And do not learn Qur'an from the person who just read it from the Mus'haf. Without reciting to a Shaykh, no. He's not ready. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he was taught. By who? Allamahu shadidul quwa. Allamahu. Allahu Akbar. Allah says he was taught by who? Shadidul quwa. Dhu mirratin. That is Jibreel alayhi salam. And then the Prophet ﷺ, every Ramadan, كان جبريل يأتيه فيدارسه القرآن. Jibreel would come at every night of every day of the Ramadan, and the Prophet ﷺ would read to him what he memorized. Every night. And the final Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ was alive, he read it to him twice every night. Twice, 2 times the Mus'haf in one Ramadan. You have to learn the Qur'an from someone, because I don't care what kind of an Arab you are. You might be Sibawayh, the greatest linguist of Arabic. If you take the Mus'haf, you can't read it properly. You can't. Open the word فَدَّارَأَتُمْ. That is Surah Al-Baqarah. You can't read it, no matter what kind of Arab you are. فَدَّارَأَتُمْ. Look at how it's written in the Mus'haf. You can never know how you read that unless someone reads it to you. So you have to learn how to read the Quran from someone who knows how to read the Quran. After that, like we say, you know the basics of tajweed, khalas, you can read on yourself. But you have to be initiated somewhere. Now, he says, so don't take the Quran from someone himself, he never read to someone. Or hadith. And as Ibn Mubarak, he said this knowledge used to be passed by people. It used to be passed. They mentioned Ibn Malik to him, to Yusuf al-Andalus, Abu Hayyan. Abu Hayyan is one of the great linguists. Abu Hayyan. And Ibn Malik is one of the great linguists. So Ibn Malik was mentioned to Abu Hayyan, he said, who are his teachers? And Al-Walid, he said, Al-Awza'i is one of the great imams of Islam. Al-Awza'i, he used to say this knowledge used to be noble, passed down from man to man, like that. But when it entered into the books, the wrong people became involved. You understand? So the book, it goes together with the Shaykh. You don't discard the Shaykh and you don't discard the book. The balance. You have to know the balance. Now. So this is some of the manners in you and how to seek knowledge. The next chapter he mentioned is the etiquettes of the seeker of knowledge with his Shaykh. Now Ihna will stop here today. I think we have covered a bit, alhamdulillah, we're almost halfway there. Tomorrow we will start at, what time can you guys come here? You guys are not going to church tomorrow, right? Sunday? You're not, alhamdulillah, you'll be here. I'll be here. We don't go to church, we worship one God. That was a joke, don't take it personally. Some of you need to smile. What time can you get here? Should we start at 2 o'clock? Or after Asr, which will be 3:30? 2?
I think is a good time.
Then we can have the session which I want to do. You know, I cannot just leave you with not telling you, okay, where do we start? Until I come back next month, I don't think that's fair. Right? So we can have that time later on if we start earlier. 2 o'clock is good? It's a democracy, so I have to ask you. Oh, now you refute me, so the Shaykh talked about democracy. This is sure. This is sure. We are counseling, asking. I think 2 o'clock is fine, inshallah. You'll be here for 2 o'clock. So yeah. Inshallah will be at 2 o'clock. If you have any questions, very quickly, because we have to go somewhere, very quickly. Naam, Shaykh Ashur.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shaykh. I was going to ask you another question earlier, but now something else.
Bismillah.
Yeah, we did something else. I was just watching all the shuyukh that you mentioned. Practically none of them from Al-Andalus or Al-Maghrib, by the way. I'm not criticizing. I'm just curious.
You're commenting.
Such as Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Zuhr, Musa, Ibn Ibrahim Shatibi, Busulka, Ibn Tufayl, Ibn Arabi, Al-Imam Shatibi, Shatibi Thani, Lebanon, and Abdulwahid ibn Ashir, Mulay Abdulsalam ibn al-Mashish, and Abdulwahid ibn Ashir مثلا قال كيف تتبع شيخ؟ اسمعش قلب الشيخ. قال يتبع شيخا عارف المسالك يقيه في طريقه من المهالك يوره الله إذا رآه ويصل العبد إلى مولاه. هذا عبد الواحد بن عاشر أنا حافظه عندي 6 سنوات.
ما شاء الله.
I learned it when I was 6 years old. And Quran in Morocco, they will not allow you in school unless if you memorize from Lawh. We don't have books. I memorized Quran at 7. I never had a book.
Allah
I never saw a book until 12 or 13.
Subhanallah.
Mauritania, the same thing. Mali, the same thing. They don't see books.
They
have
memorize from the lawh, which is the
only love.
the board.
And you erase it every day.
So the Shaykh comes, he writes, this is what we're memorizing today, Surah Al-Naba, Amma Tasa'aloon, Al-Naba Al-Azim, to the end of the surah. You have your board, you write it. And then he erases it. You have 2 days, you go memorize, you come back, it's a rest, next chapter.
So in Morocco,
By the age of 7, you memorize the Qur'an.
yes, if you
MashaAllah.
don't memorize the last 20 chapters, they will not allow you in school up to today. You
MashaAllah.
have to bring Shahada min Shaykh saying, yes, he did memorize
Alhamdulillah.
20 chapters.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. Allahumma barak. And now you're 77 or 87 years old.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, you made me so young. I'm close to 95 years old.
Allahumma barak.
I retired 30 years ago.
Now, anybody else has a question, Ikhwan, on what we discussed?
When I came in, I heard you talking about Salafi. That was my question before
Yes,
Salah.
yes.
I didn't know what you were talking about. All I heard Imam Abu Hanifa and this and so on. And I have problem with this word Salafi, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
So we leave it for another
What's the meaning
time.
of it?
If you go back to the recording, I spent 5-10 minutes explaining
Oh,
that.
you did
Please,
already.
please, yes.
But when somebody tell you, just please help me clarify this. When he comes to me and he says, are you Salafi? And he looks at me like this. I say, I have 2 options. I say no. Or he tell me, I am Salafi. I looked at him and say, I don't think so. He say, why? I say, I don't want to think you are lying, because Salafi is someone who lived from 622 until 925, which is the death of Imam Tabari. You can see Imam Tabari from here. That's it. There is no Salafi after that.
Those are the Salaf.
That's all right.
Now we have Atba'u Salaf.
Yeah. But
Now we have the followers of the Salaf.
so if he tell me, أنا على منهج السلف صالح,
أيوة.
I agree 100%.
That is completely
But he tell
true.
me, oh, you're Salafi.
He
I
doesn't
tell him, no, you are
understand.
not. You must be dead. If you are Salafi, you should
You must
not
be dead.
Yes.
Dead man walking.
explain it really thoroughly about
So do we have the tape?
Oh, yes, it will be in the website.
It will be on the website, inshallah.
Thank you.
What the Shaykh intends to say is that you should say, I follow the Salaf. That you are not part of the Salaf, because the Salaf are those who have died already. So linguistically, it's like to say it's not correct. But I think at the end of the day, we all agree. Alhamdulillah. Yes.
How do you know you completed the book that you're able to go on to the next one?
How do you know you completed a book and you're able to move on? It's very easy. When you study a book, after you finish the book, ask yourself, can I teach this book? That's what I do to myself since I started to study. After I read a book or I study a book, when I close it, even every day you study. Like today, if I read 20 pages from this, before I sleep I'll ask myself, can I teach those 20 pages? If the answer is no, it means I have to go read again. The answer is yes, it tells me I've understood, I can move on.
Yes.
Or if you have a teacher, then the teacher will test you. Teacher will test you. If he says you're okay, alhamdulillah, you move on. Now, yes, Akhi.
There was a brother he said about the question about getting married. Should I get married or choose to follow the
Seek knowledge.
seek
Yes.
the knowledge?
Yes.
But isn't getting married Nusad-Din, half of the religion?
It is, getting married is Nusfuddin, you know.
And once
But the nisf of the deen itself, you can't do it without knowledge.
yeah, but once you get married, don't you learn how to? A lot of the stuff, the half of the deen, you learn in it. So you.
No, it's
never
not
even-
true. Are you married?
Oh, me, I am. Alhamdulillah.
You are married. Okay. I will tell you it's not true. You have to learn first before you get married. When you learn before you get married, you solve a lot of problems. A lot of problems don't happen because you know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting into.
No, but you misunderstood.
I misunderstood
You
you.
misunderstood me. I'm
Okay.
talking about, okay, so you got married, all right? So the stuff that you're facing day by day, if you don't know it, you could go learn it. You could use that at the same time and your path, it cannot hinder you, actually, what I'm saying. So it's not go learn everything that you need about marriage and everything, and by then you're 80 years old and then get married. I'm talking about you get married, then you do everything, because I think that people will tend to make mistakes, but you're supposed to learn from your mistakes, you know? You can't just say I'm perfect in everything.
I agree with you. And that's what we said here. We said if you need to get married, you have to get married. If you fear you'll fall into fitna, you have to get married. But if you can wait a bit, this is my personal advice, then take that time. If you can wait 2-3 years, make sure you study seriously. Because once you get married, your time is cut. Once you get children, your time is more cut. That is from experience, I can tell you that. That is why Umar radiallahu anhu, and the Shaykh is going to mention this, he said what? تَعَلَّمُوا قَبْلَ أَن تُسَوَّدُوا أو تصدقوا قبل أن تسودوا أحسنت. He said, learn before you become people of position. When you become people of position and responsibilities, you have a lot of things to take care of. You don't have enough time to study. You might have an hour, but if you didn't have those responsibilities, you have 4 hours.
And sir, when you are high position, you will not come in front of a Shaykh and learn.
It's not everybody who can do that.
That's right. You think you are very important. How can I go and listen to
So we said there's a balance. I said it, when you getting married does not hinder you from knowledge. It does not. But make sure, what did I say, Juan, those of you who are here? No, you are married already, Sheikh. Unless you're planning something, yeah. موحد الله أكبر. أنت خير. Sheikh bin Baz is here. Those of you who are single, what did I say, Juan? Huh? He said marriage doesn't hinder you from knowledge on one condition. That, no, if you want to get married, say if you fear fitna, but you said what? You have to explain to the person you get married to, this is my passion, this is who I am, I like to read 4 hours of the day, and I have 2 classes, Tuesday and Sunday, whatever, so please, I want to get married, I want you to help me in this, not you to become an obstacle in this. If you can do that, you can still seek knowledge. Because I have seen people, they get married, some of them were in Medina University and they left the university completely. Completely. Where they are getting paid. People who used to sit and read and they got married, khalas. And there's others who got married and they continue that way. So the sister should tell the brother and the brother should tell the sister, this is who I am. And by this, a general advice for anyone who wants to get married. Before you get married, explain yourself. Who are you? I'm telling you this because I'm a marriage counselor.
Oh.
Yes. Your problems, if I was in Ottawa, will end up with me. I'm telling you, this is very important. Why do you think Islam, it says to you, you should go and see the woman, and the woman should see the man, you should sit and talk with the presence of a mahram. But the mahram doesn't have to listen. He should sit on the other side of the room, and you sit and talk to the girl, and the girl speaks to you. Everything you have to say, you should ask. Listen, I'm not someone, maybe you're someone who's used to comfort. When I wake up, I have to get my kebab and my chicken. If you can't live without that, you better say it. Because you waking up bro tomorrow and she's putting cereal on your table. Continental breakfast. Allahu Akbar. Huh? Problems, you see that? Or maybe she's used to that lifestyle. She's used to go shopping every end of the month and spend $2,000. For you, $2,000 is your salary. She better tell you. You understand? She better tell you that. These things, wallahi, they are very, very important. Especially who you are. What is the life you live? When I got married, I told my wife, listen, this is what I do, And I'm the kind of person who my passport stays in my bag. It is actually in my bag. It doesn't get out of there. Tomorrow I get called, Shaykh, come here. I'm packing up and I'm gone. You want to get married to that kind of a guy? She said yes. I said, okay, let's get married tomorrow. I have to. She has to be okay with that. Otherwise we'll have problems in our life. You get married to complete half of your deen. For sakina, to be tranquil, to find peace. You don't get married to bring problems. Khair, we'll continue tomorrow at 2 o'clock, inshallah.
There is a very humble refreshment as a dad. Humble.
MashaAllah. Naam, good.
Bismillah, could be barakah.
Inshallah. Yes, last question.
Some of the elders here, you don't have access to YouTube. So the brother asked a very good question. He asked you what is kind of, so maybe you just in about 2 minutes before you can leave.
I talked about this in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but where is YouTube? What's the private thing?
This will be online. Am I right or wrong,
Which
Ismail?
line?
He will tell you where it will be, inshallah.
Who?
Ismail. Here.
Sheikh Ismail?
Yes.
Oh no, you mean Ismail.
He is responsible.
Ismail, you will tell me, huh? Oh.
Naam.
Could you give advice on balancing seeking knowledge and also helping your community? Because when you start seeking knowledge, you start to realize your community needs
That is coming tomorrow. That is coming tomorrow in the book. That is coming tomorrow, inshallah. Now, if you have other questions, Ikhwani, we will answer them tomorrow. Because we have to go somewhere. That is why we have to rush.
Someone approached me saying it's too long and realistic because it's not happening after Salah and yet it's still not 1 hour before Salah. If the brothers and sisters in the back are committing themselves within 5 and make it 2 o'clock.
Are you committing yourself to 2 o'clock, Ikhwan?
Yeah.
Huh? Dhuhr, no, because there's a class here at Dhuhr,
There is a sister class.
which ends at 1:30.
Yeah.
So any time after 1:30. Either 2 or we come at Asr. I think it's Sunday, you wake up at 10 o'clock, you eat whatever you eat, you have enough time to make it here by 2 o'clock. Right? Inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khair.